Hey, do you know when it's time to bounce? Do you know when it's time to bounce? Hey, it's your boy ER Hunter, aka Earth. Look, are you guys prepared for the worst? Do you know how to get out of a situation you shouldn't be in? This is all about knowing your exits. Episode 12. That's the corporate number for Unity. Shout out. Welcome to the show, everybody.
One, two, three, four.
If you don't know your exit, how are you going to know where to get off? You're going to miss your mark. You're going to have to turn around and do it over. You got to know your exits.
I was on my way back from this celebration for my great grandfather, which was a fabulous event that my mother orchestrated. And, my mom was in full blown who my mom is and what she does. So, that's her thing. And they had a red carpet and a little photo shoot, and the marquee at the theater announced the event, things like that. It was beautiful. But it was about a 2.5 hour drive from there to where I live. So I saw Popeyes and I needed to pee anyway. And I've heard about this chicken sandwich craze or something that's going on the internet. So I figured I'm going to try these chicken sandwiches. I love chicken, and there's nothing like a good chicken sandwich. I wasn't too invested in the whole trend. I had just heard about it, I don't know, in passing or maybe through podcasts or something like that. Or BuzzFeed, I have no idea. Twitter, I think that's what it was. So I go ahead and stop. It looked like the drive-thru wasn't busy, but once I pulled in, I realized they just have a really long actual driveway for their drive-thru. So I figured, well, I got to pee anyway. I'm not going to make it the next hour on the road. So I go in the restaurant. I'm trying to get in, and the doors are locked. And this dude in his car is like, hey. And I'm like, yo, he's like, yeah, the manager just locked the doors talking about she's tired of these chicken sandwiches. And mind you, it's only 9 o'clock at night. I think this Popeyes closed at like 10 or 10:30, maybe even 11. Maybe they stayed open late because it had a drive-through. I don't know. But he was like, yeah, the door on the other side is unlocked. So these double doors, and the restaurant I'm walking around, I see every table inside is, packed. It's full of people. There's not really a line at the register, but business is booming. It's a good time to go grab a bite. Maybe the whole rush died down, and these are kind of the stragglers like me getting off the freeway after a long ride through the canyons and stuff, and want to try this chicken sandwich. So I kind of already knew they were going to have an attitude about it in the first place, but I don't care. If you got it, I'll pay for it. I want it. And I know what it's like to work at a restaurant where the line's out to the street. I did it for 7 years. And at some point, you just got to swallow your pride and have a good attitude, because it's not going to lighten up. It's like doing cardio. It's like going on a run. Like, it only gets better the more you do it. And then, at first you're a little fatigued, first 5 minutes, maybe 10 minutes, but then you hit that runner's high and you're chilling, you're cruising, and you're just vibing with every customer. You're in the zone. And you're making money, your boss is happy, you're a lot happier, and the day goes by a lot faster. So in any case, I get in there, and sure enough, those doors are locked. I couldn't get on that side. But that also means I can't get out. So I order the sandwich with this lady. She looks like she could be the manager. And, I've been doing the whole keto thing, like very low carb. Only carbs I had Monday through Thursday was quinoa, and it would be literally half a cup. I could overindulge, but I'm really trying to focus on portions. And I stress eat, that's a bad habit. And I just left a family function early, and I knew when it was time to go. I knew it was time to exit. And I was listening to my intuition, but at the same time, I wasn't listening to my intuition by the time I left. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to reward myself for even going, because I didn't want to go to this family function, but I also did truly deep down. And we're going to do what we want to do. But, me not going would have made it all about me. And I didn't want to be that selfish last night, pretty much. So The manager taking my order, people are genuinely kind of nice to me, I think, because I just come off as a gregarious person and they like my face and my green eyes and my brown skin. So me having a bad attitude actually like throws people off a little bit because they don't expect it from me. I think from what I gather, they perceive me as a nice guy. And even though in my head, I'm not feeling like a nice guy, I'm not super tough guy, macho or whatever, but we'll talk about self-defense and preparing yourself, for things like that. So I wasn't going to get attitude with her. I was going to kind of play her up, and I already knew you were tired of getting these chicken sandwiches, but I'm going to pitch it like this is a fresh order. Like, I don't know, and so we did the whole thing and I asked her how long it was going to take. And she says, she shrugs her shoulders. She shrugged her shoulders. I was like, after I paid my money. And I was like, you can't tell me how long it's going to take to get my order? And she's like, it could take, I don't know. It could take 30 minutes. There was no one in line. I literally walked up to the counter and ordered. And I was like, half an hour. And I still had an hour drive. But I'd already paid. I didn't want to cause a scene. And I didn't want to let her know that she was getting under my skin, even though she let everyone throughout that day get under her skin. And she jeopardized, I don't know if it was her, but whoever locked the doors to a full restaurant while they were open, jeopardized all of our safety. So I don't play with that, Do not mess with my dog, number one. Don't mess with my money, and don't mess with my safety. So it's, chicken sandwiches versus human life. And anything could happen these days. There could have been an active shooter that came in and there was only one door that was visible to leave the facility available to probably 50 people, 70 people inside of a restaurant. There could have been a grease fire. Then the back door is blocked. How are we going to get out then? So maybe it set off my anxiety, and I'm really grateful that I've come a long way with dealing with what I've been diagnosed with is PTSD. And maybe that's from being in 4 traumatic car accidents. Maybe that's from childhood experiences, but abusive relationships, things like that. Who knows? Nature versus nurture. But I know where I'm at today, and managing it is the daily challenge. That's the grind. So when people do stuff like that, that's inconsiderate of human life over how comfortable it makes you working, because you're frustrated with where you're at, you can't jeopardize. I mean, you can, and then it pisses people like me off, anyone that notices, jeopardize people's safety on account of your emotion, because then you're not being logical. So Popeyes, I will be emailing you and writing you guys a formal letter explaining my point of view, but y'all know where to find me if you listen to the show. erhunter.squarespace.com. That URL is about to change. I gotta, I'm still narrowing down one, but once it does, I will update the description and the show notes. But that just got me thinking, it reminded me of this t-shirt. A good friend of mine, one of my best friends, I got to know in Italy. He had recommended it when we were in Italy. We were shopping or just walking through a store, and his friends would compliment me on my style. And I'm glad I developed one before I got to Europe, because I didn't want to stand out like a sore thumb looking like a typical American in baggy jeans and stuff like that. And I'm a good looking guy, so I like to kind of flex, and I had lost a little weight. I was 20. I was 20 years old. Skinny jeans were in, and skinny jeans had already been in for the last 20 years in Europe. So it just all worked out. But he introduced me to this shirt, this brand, and post the picture in the show notes. So there's a picture of me partying in it on Facebook. And it's called The Future. It says on there, the future's unwritten. Know your exits. And so I was really wrestling with this other concept all week. And I felt when I was meditating this morning, just waking up, coming to getting that coffee in me, realized I didn't hit my knees and pray. So I got down on my knees and prayed. And I knew coming back from the dog park, I didn't feel like working out. I know I didn't feel like being very active. I want to binge eat and just watch Hulu and Netflix. I mean, The Affair is back on Showtime today. Stop. Stop. Get out my face. Do y'all know where I should be right now? Right here with you. But I will be watching that later today. Mara Tierney. Ah, man. I fell in love with her when she was Abby on ER. And I actually saw her walking her dog when I was catering in New York City. And it took everything in me not to drive up and be like, I absolutely love you. Abby! Saved my life. In any case, knowing your exits. And I was thinking about it leaving the dog park because on the way there, I saw in the mountains where I live, in the hills, off in the distance, black smoke. And it's relatively humid. It hasn't been humid here all summer. But this since yesterday, and the clouds are sitting on the mountains on the, it's like a huge valley. And I'm on one side right under a mountain. In the clouds, I'd never really seen them sit so low except for when it's raining, and especially after it's been so hot and so sunny. But they were just wrapped around the mountains yesterday, and it was very humid, and it's like wet outside. It's the first time feeling moisture in the air in a while. So to see black smoke in the distance after reading an article, I think yesterday, or tapping on, I didn't read it, a relatively tame wildfire season, and now I'm seeing black smoke in the hills, and it's just like, this whole place could go up in flames. It's been happening all over California, the wildfires, and black smoke in the distance. I'm a huge fan of Lost, J.J. Abrams. Like, that's one of my favorite television shows of all time. ER, Lost, Third Watch, the list goes on, but just to name a few. If you need to, get nestled into, my frame of mind and what entertains a go-getter like me, those are the founding blocks of my television upbringing. Because the television babysat me as a kid, but it also helped me develop imagination as well. So there goes. Ergo, my authorship and writing skills. To see smoke in the distance and to know I need an escape plan. I need an evacuation route. Where am I going to go next if we have to get out of here? Blah, blah, blah. And I actually have an earthquake prepared kit, escape kit, survival kit, right next to my front door because I'm not playing games. I've felt 2 big earthquakes this summer, 4th of July and the 5th of July. Like, God, higher power, the world, you only got to tell me once, be prepared. So, and what I found out in college, we did a study, is that despite people knowing the immense danger and risk, a lot of times we go into dread mode in our minds, or we just won't even think about it. We won't acknowledge that this threat exists. So even us doing the study, and it had to do with earthquakes, and we went to the American Red Cross emergency headquarters in Los Angeles. I mean, it looked like something out of a movie. You have a bunch of telephones and these computer screens projected, and exactly what would be going off when the big one strikes. I mean, they are prepared. Are you? That's the question. That's the question I'm begging to ask. So actually, at the end of this episode, I'm going to break open this ghetto earthquake preparedness kit I got by my front door and see what all I put in it. And maybe, you can take some tips from that. Those will be our tips for managing life in this crazy, crazy world for this episode. In any case, I just want to share what I feel like my higher power, God, y'all know, I've been baptized in the Jordan River, and I pledged to follow Jesus Christ for the rest of my life. And I'm going to stand by that. I'm a secular Christian because I identify as LGBTQ, or, the G, the B, and the Q. because sometimes I'm questioning what is going on. And to be a believer, I met with a lot of backlash, but at the same time, I'm not. And it's kind of just all this old generational construction in my head of do not be a sissy and the church will not accept you. Well, I don't really care if the church accepts me or not. I just know how I feel love from my higher power, what I call it, them, she, her, mother, universe, Gaia, God, Jehovah, Yahweh, Yeshua, whatever, And I just meditated. I just got done doing meditation for 10 minutes, quieting my mind to hear whatever I'm supposed to be hearing. And so when I hit my knees finally after coming back from the dog park, after being reminded to have an exit plan because I'm seeing black smoke in the distance, God told me to run. He told me in the car, and I was like, well, I kind of, I feel like I should go to the gym because my goal is to hit the gym at least 4 to 5 times a week now. So, because I'm cutting physically, bulking spiritually. Episode 9, check it out. So I was living downtown, close to downtown LA, in Harvard Heights. It's a rough neighborhood. I mean, I literally went to the liquor store that's like right behind my house, and this Suburban pulls up, and all these Latino guys in white tees and black pants and Nikes get out, like all dressed the same, clearly in a gang. And I was shook. Because it could have been initiation night. Anything could have happened right there. And they just went about their business. I went about mine, but I was definitely praying. So that got me serious. It opened up my eyes. Like, I need to be prepared to defend myself as a man, as someone living in an urban environment, just in general. So off of Robertson near the Sony studios, there's a gym there, and they do Krav Maga, they do CrossFit. It should still be there because they were popping, and they had some good rates. It's not like I was balling, and I still signed up for membership. And they were actually really cool when I moved away too, ending it. So it's not like a hoax or anything like that. I'm about to vape my fix pin here. Vape break? Yeah. So if you go to the end of Robertson, right where it is at Sony, there's a Krav Maga gym and CrossFit gym there. So I started taking Krav Maga classes. And y'all, Krav Maga is the Israeli street fighting tactic or style, martial art. So it's what they teach their male and female soldiers in Israel. And pretty much from what I know is if you are Israeli, you have to serve in the military at some point, maybe from 17, 18 years old. I can look that up. But Israeli street fighting is known to be gnarly, super effective, super efficient, and really what they were teaching us as far as surviving in LA was neutralizing the danger and getting out of there. Neutralizing the danger and getting out of there. So part of me knowing my exit is being prepared to exit. Because if I don't know how to unlock the door to get out of a situation, if I don't know how to exit the process of that, what's the key to getting out of this? If I'm getting attacked physically, what is the key if somebody's holding a gun? And so these Krav Maga classes, they would have props. They showed us how to like gouge someone's eye out with a grapefruit. It got my confidence up because I was doing it on the regular. I think about a month I did. And we were doing CrossFit too. But, having a key like that is crucial. And I guess that's what set me off, because I was in a traumatic car accident as a kid. That was what set me off at Popeyes with the PTSD. I'm not claustrophobic, but I do have a fear of being crushed. Like recently, this gentleman in New York City, so unfortunate. Everybody's worst fear, like something straight out of a horror movie. You're getting off the elevator and the cable breaks and the elevator drops. I'm just not understanding any of the articles because they say he was crushed, stuck between the shaft and the elevator. So I'm wondering if the doors were still open on the elevator, and since he was leaning forward, if his body slided in between, because then there's the gap, if that's how he fell into the shaft, or is it that thing? I just don't get it. But how traumatic, and just my heart goes out to those people that witnessed it and were in the elevator and probably suffered, if not physical injury, just straight up traumatic injury. So to add insult to injury, so to speak, got to lift them up in our prayers for sure. And there's no way to prepare for something like that except to be mindful of it, to have your eyes open. Because, when you talk to the tenants at that building, none of them liked that elevator. They said it was jumpy. The other one in the building had failed inspection, things like that. As a hunter, my last name, what that means is listening, being quiet, keeping your eyes open, identifying your surroundings. That's having a key to an exit. And at Popeyes last night, when I didn't exactly know who the manager was, and I didn't have the key to unlock that front door. So in my mind, I'm just playing every scenario of what could go wrong, how it could go wrong, why this is a bad situation. And once I got my order, I tried to go back to the counter, but they weren't even that busy. They were just tired from being busy all day, more than usual. They just wouldn't look at me in the eye. They just kept walking. So I was like, you know what? I'm not going to cause a scene because I'm not trying to end up on Reddit. And just something about having a key card, having a key, having access. And when I don't have that, I'm giving power to somebody else. It's like I'm giving control to somebody else. And it's funny how easily we do that. And people kind of call me a wimp or a sissy, or, for not wanting to get on every carnival ride. Like, I just want to listen to my intuition because I don't want to end up on Reddit. Like, I don't know the safety inspector. I don't know if he checked this ride today. Why am I going to risk my life to get a rush? When there are just way more foolproof ways to have fun. It's just me. I just probably won't be sending any kids that I raise to a carnival. But you know what? You can do what you want to do. It's your life. That's kind of my mom let me do when I told her I was smoking weed. She was like, you could put it in your body. It's your body. You can do what you want. Sometimes you kind of wish somebody would be like, don't smoke, don't smoke cigarettes. Because I knew she could smell it on me too. I was smoking cigarettes too. I would just be like, oh yeah, I'm going to walk up to my buddy's house and just like walk a quarter mile up the street and just smoke and then walk back. And it's like cigarettes stick, dude. In any case, I was meditating. I was thinking about how powerful my badge when I worked at the studio lot, how that was to me. Because that badge, I could just walk into the theme park, walk past all those workers, security, just flash my badge, access to everything, come and go as I please, even when everything was closed, the office was closed, people weren't there, getting there early, staying there late. I needed access to everything because I had to do some extraordinary things for our producers. You had to let me go. You had to let me, have a security clearance. And so it was funny because my higher power just made me laugh meditating because I thought that was so cool, He was like, they were like, the card said universal. And I could kind of feel them laughing and said, I created the idea of universe. And my higher power is not universal. He created the idea of universality of the universe. He's the Almighty. They are the Almighty. It's like I said, I am that I am in Exodus 3:14. I am that I am. So this whole idea of universal with this little icon of a globe, really, my God is so much bigger than that because we wouldn't even have a frame of reference of a globe or an idea of a world or a universe without whatever's holding the stars up. That's what stumped Einstein, There's a great recent episode by the Ben Greenfield podcast. He talks to this gentleman that is really invested in his spirituality, and it was really inspiring to hear, because a lot of times I go to Ben Greenfield for nutritional biohacks, fitness, things like that. So the range, the repertoire, how do you say? It's like an anthology of information in his podcast, and this was fresh. This was nice. So I'll have to figure out who that was I was listening to, because it was a great show. I'll have to look it up. But he was talking about how God is the sum total, is zero, is everything and nothing at the same time. And so Exodus, that verse, when God tells Moses, Moses wants to know his name, and he says, I am that I am. Just tell their people, I am that I am. That's like straight up zero to me. And that episode and all this repetition stood out to me because on my Instagram, I created maybe almost a decade ago. I don't know how long Instagram has been out. I got to look at my first pictures. That was 2014. So 5 years ago, I started my Instagram, I believe. And I didn't really think about what I was going to write in the header, but I just wrote kind of my mood. And it was the fact that I learned in statistics or something, or trigonometry, that negative numbers don't exist. So if anything, I can only be a zero. And that's me just kind of like insulating myself from any haters, because Instagram, it's all been vanity. And we know that it's all about vanity and trying to get validation or verification of who we are to other people, and project an image of who we think we want to be or should be. Or, sometimes it's actually straight up genuine how we're living our life, which is cool too. So I'm hoping like that's what this show is for me, and thank you for listening type thing. So when I wrote that, and then to hear Ben Greenfield's podcast with the gentleman talking how God, is pretty much represented in the number zero, because infinity is numbered in itself. It's just one half of it. It's not nothing at all, too. So God being everything and nothing at the same time, I am that I am. It's almost like I'm not that I'm not type thing. Philosophy, I don't know. Maybe you could juxtapose with me. So it's just interesting to me, because I thought that physical key card to the studio lot defined me. I thought that was validation for my life, verification. But I'm so grateful that my higher power knew I didn't know my exits there. I wasn't prepared for the worst to happen when I started my career. It didn't matter if I was on a studio lot, if I was in a law firm, if I was at a McDonald's, whatever my career path in life is supposed to be. If I was on set of a movie, at that point, I was not opening up my eyes and conditioning myself to be the key to understanding the lock on the door to leave, and knowing when an emergency, when it was time to leave. And that's what's been developing, is being aware of when it's time for me to leave a situation, leave a certain specific place, leave certain people, leave certain ideas, memories, and things like that. And that comes with knowing when to enter somewhere. And sometimes you can't go into every place with the stuff from the last place. You can't go into a relationship with the baggage from your past relationship. You can. I don't know how successful your relationship's going to be, but from my experience, that's what I tend to do. And that's why I keep attracting the same people. And it really stuck out to me. And so to get out of this situation, this vicious cycle, this loop, I got to start conditioning myself and getting to know what my exits are. And it was changing me from the inside out. I'm the key. I have the option to go through the door. I have to teach my spirit and my mind, to be a person that attracts genuine healthy relationships. So sometimes knowing my exit is knowing when to enter. And so I knew it's time to enter my next phase of development. And that's economically, that's spiritually, that's mentally, physically. It's very dynamic. I encourage you, if you're bored or unsatisfied with life, to really lay out where your spiritual life is, where your mental life is, your emotional life, your physical life. And by physical, I mean health, fitness, diet type stuff. Because I guess I'm trying to hit those four corners every day. Like it's a workshop, a conditioning workshop for lacrosse or something. They set up 4 cones across the field. At this station, you do this. At this station, you do that. At each cone, you do a different exercise and you run, and you might have to run a certain way. You might have to karaoke to the left, to make it to one cone, and then you got to backpedal to make it to the next cone, and you're doing push-ups at one, and you're doing jumping jacks at another, and you're doing burpees on the other one. It's that type of hustle. And so that way, when it's game time, I can enter into that game and leave behind my doubt, exit from my head, and be in that moment, because now my body's conditioned, my synapses in my mind are conditioned. It's all systems go. It takes time. It's taking me time. And that's one thing I appreciate about the tenets of Jesus Christ, because really, read the Bible for yourself. If you have never considered Christianity and you don't really get what the fad is, or you think it's a bunch of hoopla, you don't have to go to church to believe in Jesus. I'm going to tell you that right now. It helps a lot, but I didn't go to church today. I'm not in a sanctuary right now. This is my church. I'm sharing my testimony. This is spiritual for me. I went to church last week. Cool beans. But I have had so much stored up in me this week that I just got to let it rip. And yeah, why not? The podcast is growing. God is putting me in a position to build this platform, and I just want to motivate and inspire. I'm not I'm not a pastor. I probably preach some stuff, I know. And my friends often dub me like a spiritual guide or, leader or whatever. But I'm so young on that path. I'm so young in this journey. That's why I like how raw and authentic this podcast is. And that, I really had to talk to God and be like, in my soul, and be like, am I supposed to be talking about authentication, being authentic, certified as authentic, being different again? Is that supposed to be my theme this week or something? Because I did the Dare to Differ episode. But from what I get back from my soul, and I was invited to start talking to my muscular system, my vibration, my inner self, from this gentleman. I'm going to put it on the show notes because I can't find it right now, on the Ben Greenfield podcast, that was talking about, ask yourself, am I supposed to be eating this chicken sandwich from Popeyes? And see what your spirit says back. See what your body says back. So I kind of intermixed that with praying and meditating. And it just led me authentication is what is happening to me right now. That's what God is doing in my life. And so there's going to be a much greater message behind that. But for right now, just today, he's been kind of turning my eyes to being prepared. I almost wanted to call the show Prepare to Run. Prepare to Run. Because last night, being locked inside a restaurant, I was not prepared to run. There was no way to get out. It would have been chaos. It would have been, people would have got crushed, things like that, fire, shooting, something. You don't lock doors in public places, just because, you don't like how many people are there or something. Your business. Get your act together. So when Jesus talks about it's not his time yet, I think that is also, this comes with being aware of your exits in situations, is knowing actually when to open that emergency door, what qualifies an emergency. And I read the Bible for myself, and I think Jesus had so much influence because he was funny, to be honest. Does. Because he's pretty witty. Even how he talks to like the Pharisees and the rabbis and stuff, and they're just chopping it up, and the lawyers. He's like, let me break this down for you real quick. And he's pretty like sarcastic in my opinion. It's actually pretty entertaining. But, we get this trope of Mary being this immaculate, holy woman. And Jesus treats her like a human. After his birth and stuff, when it jumps up to him, starting his miracles, he did the wedding at Cana, water to wine thing, when his mom comes up to him because they were out of wine. And that's just what the verse says, and that just, I so related to that. I related to that so bad, especially with the party going on last night with my mom, because my mom's like that. It's like my cousin didn't show up, or he got stuck in traffic, and they didn't have a shuttle driver. No one has called me. No one has asked me to help with this. I just show up at the party all dressed up or whatever, and it's not like, oh, you look nice or whatever. It's like she puts the keys in my hand for this big ass GMC truck. It's like a limousine or something, like straight up chauffeur status. And she's like, I need you to go pick up people at the Civic Center. And Jesus in the Bible, he says, woman, my time has not yet come. He says to his mother, this woman that raised him, Mary, he just calls her woman. My time has not yet come. And even when he's in, I think he's at someone's house in Capernaum, and his mom shows up later on in the Bible. And that first verse is John 2:4. And they say, your mom's outside because it was so crowded, people couldn't get in. And he was like, who is my mother? Or who? And somebody said, aren't you Joseph's son? He's like, who's my father? It's just hilarious to me because there's that whole like Bible verse, and like sometimes your family be like, well, you gotta honor your father and your mother. Sometimes honoring them is setting healthy boundaries, is clearly setting healthy boundaries, because knowing when to enter a situation, into a room, start a podcast, start marketing, start looking for sponsors, start developing that business plan, start pitching at meetings, start socializing, to start cleaning up your act, to start getting sober. Knowing when to do that is so crucial to knowing your exits, because now you know when and where and how to leave when you develop that plan of action and you listen to your intuition, and deep down you shouldn't be drinking, you shouldn't be smoking meth, you shouldn't be sleeping around with any and everybody, especially practicing risky behavior. I'm talking to myself. I'm just talking from experience. Shouldn't be gambling your resources. And that's a whole nother message, because I'm just like, are you like me? Are you ready to cash out? Are you ready to stop playing games? Because, if I go to the casino and I'm gambling my money, I'm gambling my resources. I'm gambling with my power. I'm gambling with potential. That's money that could be going into marketing. That's money that could be spent on getting nutritious organic food, rather than risk doubling it only to have that reward system tell me this is okay, and to lose it all or to squander it. Or maybe you need that money and you gamble and you win some stuff, you pay some bills off. You know what? And that's just your time. But for me, I've taken enough risks. I've had enough. I'm ready to push back from the table, whatever this situation in life is, whatever's been keeping me, on the roulette table with things just going round and round and random numbers getting selected, whatever cards you're going to dish out to me. And I'm risking my success, my time, spending my time in this atmosphere. Like, I'm tired of the ringing of slot machines. I'm tired of that in my spiritual life. I'm tired of it in my physical life, in my mental life. I'm tired of it. So setting up healthy boundaries with family, friends, old friends, acquaintances, coworkers is crucial, because now I have the key to get out of whatever shame, whatever's blocking me from really being creative, from really being in the moment. Because in the back of my mind, you're not annoying me anymore. This problem, this person, this issue, are you ready to cash out? And I have been ready to cash out multiple times. And what do? I walk right back into that casino. I pick up that bottle of alcohol. I stop socializing. I isolate, and I'm just gambling with my life. I can't do that anymore. That's what this is about. Maybe you can relate. Pain, for me is simply an indication that a certain area needs some attention. It's in order for me not to cause any more damage to what's already injured, my nervous system needs to remind me of what's going on. Let's say I get cut open on my back, or like I have a back injury in my neck and my lower back all over. There's muscle spasms and herniated discs and lack of fluid between the bones. So I have to listen to my body when I'm at the gym. I can't just deadlift anymore. I can't just squat anymore how I used to with a plate on each end, things like that. Now I'm remapping. I'm doing things different. I'm using the kettlebells more, lower weights, high repetition, very low impact movement, and just really trying to neutralize the danger so I can escape this self-loathing, this failure, so I can exit that mentality and enter this reward, this progressive reward system of I went to the gym today and I'm a little sore, but I'm getting results. I feel better. I'm doing better. I'm awoke. I'm alive. I now have energy enough. I gave energy, and it's weird because you get that energy back. I could be of better service to my fellow man. And pain is, it's an autonomic response. It's not something I have to think about in my prefrontal cortex. It just, my body does it. My nervous system does it. Not automatic, autonomic. So these are responses that we don't innately think about. It's just our body naturally does it in reaction. So pain, that's an indication that it's an autonomic response that brings it to the forefront of my mind to make an automatic response, not to utilize that muscle right now. Let that heal, put that energy in that area. Don't stress it. Just don't stress it. And so I'm trying to relate that to spirituality, the soul, because there's certain parts of my soul that are damaged, that are injured, and it's painful to go there. And if there's pain there, that means it requires healing. And the best doctor I know is the one I can't see. But I feel it. They talk to me, and I say they because God doesn't have a gender. I think Father, is the redacted, easy, patriarchal, edited version of what this all is. I'm not here to persuade you to believe the Bible how I do. I'm just trying to make sense of this crazy world I live in and encourage you to keep going in it. So I encourage us not to cower away from pain, to realize why it's being caused, and to focus on managing that pain. And a lot of times that comes through movement for me now, especially with the back injury. Who would have thought? Loosening up that inflammation, not getting stagnant. So sometimes I got to be grateful for the pain. The pain of not knowing how to get out of a certain situation, of not knowing my exit. That's almost undescribable. And I think that's where people kind of lose it. And I get that, kind of break down. That's when I want to drink again. Because I'm not seeing a way out of this. Like, I've been sober for a while and I'm still unhappy type thing. But the exit, the key, is trying new things. Have you really tried every key on the ring? Have you tried reaching out to that friend? Have you tried hitting a meeting? Have you tried going to a meetup group, playing some pickup basketball? Have you tried enrolling in college or just applying? Are you really trying every key on the ring, or are there just certain ones that you're just already giving up on? Because if that's the case, then you might just stay where you're at. And I would highly encourage you, because that's what's working for me. I didn't think this podcast was going to pick up any steam. And look at where we're at now. We're rolling. And, I got a testimony because I didn't, I took a risk. I took a risk this summer. And I'm really investing in myself, in marketing, my website, my book, and this podcast. And it not only takes a lot of financial resources, but it takes time and patience and networking and developing relationships. And sometimes I just don't want to be on my phone. But I know that's what I need to do. And I knew it was an act of faith. And, faith without works is dead. So for me, I've just been working because that's my faith. And what I thought was a bad thing, my bike got stolen. It was locked up right here on my patio. And it was a nice bike. I mean, worth over $1,000. And I was like, I filed a police report a couple of weeks ago. It happened a month ago. I thought maybe I might see the homeless person that took it riding it or something like that, because it's like red, black, and white, like really nice road bike. I can see it, from a long distance away. I would know it if it was mine. So I was like, let me just go ahead and apply or file a claim with my renter's insurance. And I mean, within 2 days, they're like, yeah, you send us the police report, you send us photos of how it was locked up, that it's yours. We know this is a real claim. Here's your money. So I was kind of stressing, and I'm planning like 6 months out, looking at my budget, like 3 months out, looking at my budget. So I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm not gonna be able to go out for coffee anymore. I'm not gonna be able to go out to eat on the weekends with my buddies. No more movies. I got to turn off Netflix because I really want to put all my resources into where my higher power, my intuition, my soul, the inner me, my light is shining brightest. And that's right here in the field of communication and helping others. And lo and behold, I end up getting a check that covers my rent, and that's just like not just 1 month, but 2 months of access, of being able to exercise my faith. And it's like that God didn't have to do that. It did not have to work out this well. So I'm really grateful. That's my testimony. I'm practicing faith, and I speak that. It's hard. I'm not saying I'm the best at it or anything, and I'm probably not, because I send $25 to like somebody that hits me up on Instagram, and they're like, yeah, we'll blast your book and all this stuff. Ain't seen nothing. And I want to like sue these people and all this stuff, like you lied to me, or you said you had this many followers. But now I'm learning, knowing my exit from a conversation, from an opportunity, because then you go back and you research who's asking me, and I look at their website, and you ain't even monetizing your website, dog. You ain't even making money on your website. Like, you don't even know what you're doing, and you only got 1,000 followers. Get out of my face. Get out of my face. It is what it is. I ain't gonna call them out right now, but let's see how this goes. Because if I don't get my media blast, I'm gonna blast y'all on this show. Best believe. In any case, stand up for yourself. Get up, stand up for your right. Hey, and know your exits. Be prepared to run. There could be a wildfire. You see black smoke on the horizon in your life? Are you conditioned? Can you get out of there? Are you prepared? Is there gas in your truck? If you haven't been using your truck, then it's always going to be on full. And I guess that's why I have to delve into this, because I'm emotionally and economically and mentally getting drained because I'm utilizing all this passion and I'm putting it out there and it's coming out of me. So that means I need a refilling. So maybe I do need to go to church today. Pray for me, y'all. But I wanted to share an encouraging message without too much religiosity. It is, as I've said before, based on the tenets of Jesus Christ and the Bible, and I stand upon the word of God. And we all do when we go to court, you swear on the oath. There's something about it. There's a power behind it. So I reference it, and I relate to it because I was raised on it, and I think a lot of us have been. So, and if you haven't, I hope that this is a cool introduction because it's not as boring and it's really invigorating. And people that lead spiritual lives live longer, better life, and that's what this is all about. I really appreciate you all listening. As far as knowing your exits, and I'll close with this. There's something about like when God told the Israelites, to possess the land, to possess Israel, the promised land, to take control of it. Even devils know when to leave. That's what exorcisms are all about. That's what detoxes are all about. Detoxes might be physical, but it is a very spiritual experience because I've experienced, they call them spirits and wine. And my grandmother called it out. She's like, those are them spirits coming out of you. And it's almost like you're going through an exorcism. It's crazy the way you're acting, the irrationality, what's coming out of you. And it has to pass. It has to pass. But even devils, even demons know when it's time to leave in a possession. So if you truly are going to possess your success, your potential, your body, whatever system you're working in, do you know it through and through to know when it's time to let go and move on, to set up some boundaries? It's about knowing in and out, the ins and the outs of whatever functionality, whatever system, whatever path you're taking. If a wolf comes on that path, do you know how to get out of there? If a bear walks up, what's your exit plan? There's nothing wrong with being prepared. There's absolutely nothing wrong with being prepared. And you better be, because that negative energy, addiction, that alcoholism that's doing push-ups outside your meeting, all that, it knows when to leave. And it's up to us. It's absolutely up to each and every one of us in our lives. So I hope this encourages you. I hope it kind of helps you prepare for the worst so that should things hit the fan, you're ready to get out of there. And it's not going to be as daunting as you thought it was. Because I see black smoke on the horizon. I'm going to start mapping things out. Stay tuned. I'm going to actually go through my Earthquake Preparedness Kit. And we're going to see what all I packed up a month ago after those earthquakes when I was emotionally shook up. Thank you, guys.
Sometimes knowing your exits means coming back. It means returning. That could be your resurrection. Leaving alcohol, leaving addiction, leaving codependence, leaving unhealthy relationships, leaving whatever failure behind, and moving on. Coming back, recognizing it, acknowledging it, giving it some closure. That's your resurrection right there. That's your regenerative process. So you can actually let go and move into the next situation, go into the next room, walk through that door.
Stay tuned. I'm going to show you guys what exactly is in my Earthquake Survival Kit to help you identify your exits, prepare for the worst, hope for the best. Okay, all right. Let's see what all's in this kit by my front door, emergency survival preparedness kit. So, since I have chronic back pain, I have a lot of medication. So I make sure I have there's a lunchbox pail. I haven't used it in a while because if anything, I'll just fast all day and eat at home. But it's got a good variety of medicines in there for me should my building fall apart and there's something I need to grab on the way out. because it's what I'm sitting it on top of. So this is just a lunch pail with an arm strap, and it's got my medicine in there. And who knows, if I get injured, like these painkillers could be vital. If where I'm at, if we're cut off from the world or something like that, these are going to become very valuable resources. So I want to make sure I have them and I can put them in the car with me, because that's my plan, is to get out of my building, which is a pretty old building, make it to my car, depending on how bad the damage is, kind of be prepared to hunker down, get to a safe location. So I know my dog will follow me wherever I go. I'm not going to worry too much about putting his leash on him. Like, let's say it's the middle of the night, middle of the day. Irie's going to come with me, and he has done that before in the earthquakes. He's always right up under me looking for my next move. So now we have this Tupperware box. My grandma bought them for me because she knows I'm pretty nomadic, so I move a lot, and I'm just tearing the tape off because I taped the top of it so I wouldn't freaking jump into it and use these resources. But I got it packed pretty well. I can see I'm stretching the box. So literally one of the last things and one of the first things on top is a 6-in-1 knife sharpener and survival tool. I got this off of Amazon because I like to watch Naked and Afraid, and it pisses me off when two people get dropped off somewhere, especially somewhere wet, and these fools don't have a lighter or a fire starter. Like, they're like, oh no, I can make one. It is 100% humidity, so pretty much it's constantly raining. You ain't gonna make one without no flint and steel. So I don't want to go unprepared. So this is straight edge razor. It's got a serrated edge, gut hook, fish hook, carbide coarse sharpening, ceramic fine honing, SOS emergency whistle, fire starter, monocrystalline diamond. It looks like a pretty cool gadget. Mainly, it can be used to cut things, or help loose. I don't know. A knife is good, always good. Different types of knives, and the fire starter, that's excellent. So this is unopened, and I don't have any need to open it. There's water bottles. There's 8 16.9 fluid ounce Crystal Geyser water bottles here on top, or kind of lining the corner. One of the other last things I got off Amazon, and I will post this stuff that I got off Amazon on my website so you guys can get it, is a Life Straw personal water filter. Because one of the main things that are going to go after a devastating earthquake, especially here where I'm at, is going to be, like Los Angeles, is going to be the sanitation and the water. So those pipelines and things like that, like water, is going to be no bueno. So it's going to be dire need to have something in case, the stores run out or the National Guard isn't here soon enough, especially if the temperatures are getting up in the 90s, 100, something like that. There's a great, I think it's KPCCA podcast called The Big One, about earthquake preparedness. I would definitely encourage everyone to check that out. I got a pack of my men's daily vitamins because who knows how long we'll be out there. I think I just kind of had some extra room. I don't really want to unpack this too much, but you know what, whatever. We're going to have a great show today. I got some hats, some baseball caps I never wear, a beanie, and actually some like medical wrap that has some, like if you have a sprained ankle or something, because I've broken my ankle multiple times. I sprained it multiple times, broken it once. So I have that medical wrap in case I need to help somebody else or, stabilize myself. There's another smaller Tupperware box, about a sixth of the size of the box. That's got my non-perishable foods. So I got a can of dog food for Irie. I got some dry oatmeal. I can mix that with water. I shoved some of these really durable, dry, dog plastic poop bags, these waste bags. I actually put them in different pockets of this because who knows what I'll need them for. Like say I open a snack, I don't want to finish eating it, I want to save it, because that could be my only meal for the day. I just want to have these little baggies on hand, and I also, to clean up my feces and his feces, who knows where we'll be living. It could be Tent City, something like that. I mean, depending on how devastating an earthquake could be, the San Andreas fault. It ain't no game. I got sardines in here, some Trader Joe's turkey chili. So there's probably 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There's about 9 cans of canned proteins and legumes in this, and I got like a, what is this, a Cliff protein bar, Lola bar. Looks like it's made by the same people that make Cliff. And so that's that little small box. It's got a couple little Ziploc bags. I got a lantern flashlight that also just turns into a regular flashlight. I was keeping it by my bed. I figured I'd keep it in this box because let's say it starts rocking, this whole foundation, my building. All I got to do is get out my front door. I'm just going to grab this box, swing this lunch box over my shoulder, grab this box, open the door for me and Irie, and bail down the flight of stairs. Or we might have to jump over the railing into the pool. Who knows? If it's like that movie San Andreas, could get buck wild. I got extra pre-workout. I put the extra one in here. I might need an upper or something to get through this. Who knows? Some like superhuman strength. So, and why not? It was just sitting in my, so I bought extra deodorant. I was like, I could have swore I bought another deodorant. I put it in this box next to razors, toothpaste, floss, unopened toothbrush. I got some tennis balls for Irie. I might need to use those to roll out some cramps. I have Irie's life vest, like it's a water, flotation life vest that he would wear in the pool typically or at the beach. But he might need that for insulation, for a cold night or something, or just so people see him, things like that. Should I be injured, they'll know he's a rescue service emotional support dog. Condoms, I mean, they're very durable material. Who knows why you might need them? Maybe we need to procreate Southern California again. Or not. Okay, however you want to roll with that. I got a pair of jeans in here I don't wear because it's hot as balls. I got a sweatshirt I was given for working on Chicago Med. And I got some green camo tees, a tank top. There's that green. No, that's not that green tank top, is it? Okay, yeah, that's like the hoodie tank top. So clothes I just noticed I wasn't really wearing too often. I put them in the box because what's going to happen, let's say my building's totally demolished. I'm not going to probably come back through the rubble to get my favorite hoodie, But I am going to need some clothes to wear after a few days, and who knows when we'll get help. Some dry dog food, a dog leash that actually, I'll post this on the website too, it's a waistband belt dog leash. So Irie and I, when I go on runs with him, he's wearing that. I have a manual blood pressure thing here. My doctor gave it to me. I don't use it too much on my own because I don't really know how to use it. I should look that up because I've tried, but I don't think I'm reading my blood pressure correctly. And trying to pump it and hold it on your arm and all that stuff and not have your blood pressure goes up is kind of counterintuitive. But if I'm going to be helping other people, I might need to check to see if there's a pulse or something, just to double check to see if there is some life in there, if they have some blood pressure going on. I don't know. I should do more research or just recertify my first aid and emergency preparedness. I have a bandana in here for Irie. So there's food. There's 2 rolls of dog waste bags. Like I said, I would share those with him. Razors. There's a Rockstar not sugar-free energy drink near the pre-workout. The water is crucial. So that would be different for me not sucking down water. There's 9 bottles of water in here. And I got some bubble wrap too. So let's say I need to splint myself or someone else. The bubble wrap could help with that. At the very bottom, any old I have some flip-flops I never wear from Old Navy. They're still dirty from the beach. And just random little cans of Vienna sausage. I'm okay with this. There's not really a weapon in there. I do have, there's the knife, and that's right on top. So, that kind of suffices for that. The water purifier. Yeah, the clothes, the flashlight. The water is crucial. I think the food, the non-perishable food's crucial. The flashlight. I could probably throw in some glow sticks from my tackle box, my knife from there, and yeah, hats, flip-flops. If I could tuck, I'll have to find a pair of shoes, because I think I could fit a pair of shoes in here. I think that would be, the most ideal thing, because more than likely, I just have my flip-flops by the front door. And like I learned from the Big One podcast, a lot of people's injuries after an earthquake are from cut feet. So make sure, you have some shoes by your door, or at least in your kit that you can slide on, because running out in the middle of the night without shoes on while disaster's striking, barefoot, we're not game for that. So I should probably get Irie some dog shoes too. Yeah. Anywho, that's the Earthquake Emergency Preparedness Kit, the survival kit. I keep at my house. If you have any recommendations, feel free to email me at earthnpo@outlook.com. That's Earth without the A, ERTH @outlook.com, or Earth ERTHNPO, nonprofit organization @outlook.com, or drop me a line at the website er.hunter. No, I'm sorry, I'm a little stone. erhunter.squarespace.com. That's erhunter.squarespace.com. Twitter, IG at GodSentDog, at The Rhetorical Sake on IG, at Sake_podcast on Twitter. That's SAKE_podcast on Twitter. Please subscribe, follow, like, review, hit me up. Get my book, God Sent Dog. It's on Amazon. Save paper, get it on Kindle, ebook. It's lit, y'all. It's lit. But it'd be great to hear from you. Thank you so much for listening. I hope this helped you out. Stay encouraged. And, it's all about the journey, but know your exits, fool. Bye.
Last Wednesday or whatever, and that one seemed promising, but Romella, Todd, you said you wanted real, and
It's real. That's totally all right.
Love you.